Hi guys, and welcome to another car review. This time it's the new Vauxhall Corsa. Now this comes in several flavors. You can get it in petrol, diesel and electric. This one is the petrol. Prices start from around £16,000, and for the top spec electric car they go up to over £32,000. This one is the ultimate nav 1.2. It's the EAT 8. EAT doesn't mean you eat 8 donuts or something. It means it's got an 8-speed automatic transmission. This one alone is 26,695, so nearly £27,000 for a Corsa, and it's got a few options on it which I'll go into later on. But that is quite a price for a car in this segment. Now the engine on this, as I said, is a 1.2 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine, puts out 100 brake horsepower, good for a top speed of 119 miles per hour and 0 to 62 miles per hour acceleration in 10.2 seconds. The claim, 45 miles per gallon plus. I have actually seen pretty much nearly 45 miles per gallon on this car, so I'm going to believe them. And in terms of emission, they're saying 134 grams per kilometer on this car. Now this pretty much shares its platform with the Peugeot 208, which I've also reviewed, and I'll put the link for that one up here and down in the description as well. So you're thinking, isn't it just the same car but just with a different badge on it? No, it's actually quite different, obviously, in terms of the styling, although it has a similar silhouette but very different front end. Whereas of course, remember, the Peugeot's got that very distinctive look with those headlights, the daytime running lights and the fang feature that it's got at the front. So it'll be interesting to see how this compares. There are some differences. I'm going to get into that, but before we do any of that, we're going to look at the practicality. But before we do any of that, make sure that you're subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy. Make sure you follow me on all my social media channels. Just search for #browncarguy. It's on my hat right there. And of course, subscribe to browncarguy.com. You can also sponsor my content on patreon.com/Shazad Sheikh. More about that at the end of the video. Cool, let's get into this. Cool wheels on this car. Looks good in black. Now the black, I did mention this car has options, and it's actually the 2-coat diamond metallic black paint on the car that is the option. It's about a £500-600 option on top of the car's price. So you can open it from here, and you see it's got, like the Peugeot, quite a usable and very spacious size boot. As you can see, for a hatchback, for a small hatchback, that is pretty generous. A little bit of a lip, obviously, to get stuff over, so that's a little bit of a difference there, but otherwise quite usable. This is a bit odd because under here you've got quite a spacious cavity for what would have been a spare wheel or maybe even a space saver, but there's no wheel, just a tire repair kit, which seems that there's a bit of space wasted there. Or I suppose you could put, soft bags and stuff around there. You could hide stuff in there, that sort of stuff. Otherwise, that's pretty much all you get back here. You do, of course, get 60/40 split folding rear seats. So that's pretty handy. What's the rear passenger compartment like? Do I fit better in it than I did in the Peugeot? Let's find out. Okay, let's give this a try. To be honest, I am having deja vu. It is pretty much like it felt when I got into the Peugeot. There's just about enough. Obviously, this driver's seat is set for me. I'm 6'2" with long legs. This driver's seat is actually set for my driving position. Powered, this one, electric powered, the rack and the base. Not the passenger one, but the driver one is powered. Massage seats as well. Anyway, I'll get into that when I get into the front. So the fact that it's squashy here and it's scooped out slightly, that certainly helps with knee room. So it's just about manageable. It's a little rougher on the shins here because that does protrude out and will dig into your shins. There is plenty of room for the feet though. I mean, I can move those around, no problem. But I feel a bit hemmed in here, and you can probably see that just from looking at me, that I feel a little bit tight in here. Headroom is on the limit. It's okay, but it's just about on the limit for me. Shoulder room is fine. You could sit 3 people in here, 2 I think realistically. No center armrest or anything like that, but certainly child seat, Isofix anchor points. No AC vents, no power outlets or anything like that. But I guess that's pretty much all you need really in a car like this. However, when you get into you might think it's a bit Spartan back here, but when you get into the front, it's a whole different story. Let's do that. I want to get out of here. Oh yes, this is much more like it. Yes, this is very, very nice indeed. Now, check this out. There's a hidden shark. Apparently Corsas, Opel and Vauxhall Corsas, do have hidden sharks in them occasionally. Did you know that? I didn't know that. And there's a story behind it. Do you know the story? If you do, put it in the comments below, because that's quite interesting. But that's a pretty nice Easter egg, I'll tell you that much. I was quite pleased to find that. Now, again, like I said, very different from the Peugeot in here, because this interior looks very, very different. You remember the highly stylized and futuristic dashboard and instrument panel that the Peugeot's got. This has got a relatively conventional one. That's a shiny bit there. That's soft there, but mottled, and it's okay. It's all it's all right. But it's got a similar thing where it's got this strip here, but it's not coming out the way it is. It's not sort of embossed or embedded, if you like, or protruding as it does in the Peugeot. But nice trim. This one has leather, again, top of the range car. This one, the kit on there is unbelievable. Huge screen there. That's a screen, again, bit odd, because remember in the Peugeot it's got that really clever instrument panel with the sort of 3D holographic thing going on. This is a bit odd because it looks like they didn't quite cooperate between the people that were creating the digital panel and the actual instrument binnacle, because there's a slight variation in the size. Let me show you. I'll start it up and you can see when that comes on that it doesn't quite fill the whole area. I mean, nothing wrong with it. It's all there. It goes for a highly technical, computerized sort of feel about it. So it has all of the features that this is just the normal. This interface would be familiar to you if you've used the one in the Peugeot. It's not entirely dissimilar to that one. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, DAB, all the rest of it. Very easy to use, not laggy, very good. Sound system is fantastic on this car. The speakers are great. Really get some bass thumping on this thing. Now this thing, like the other car, I believe from here, you can go through the modes, just like in the Peugeot you can, but it doesn't do, it doesn't have all of the fancy stuff that the Peugeot has. But again, it's sort of more straightforward. It's sort of more like, this is what you need and this is what you shall have. I suppose it's almost the difference between sort of, if you like, French flair and German functionality, if we're going to go down that stereotype route, because this is very much about, what did you need? You needed this? Well, here it is. Here's the information that you need. Here's the driving bit. It's very similar in the modes that it has compared to the Peugeot, but I mean, the dials aren't even actually dials. It just makes that bigger, that's it. But I've kept it on the computer mode because actually it gives you all the information at a glance that you need, which is quite handy. Active cruise control, that comes up over here. And you see it all comes up on this side, and you can see you can adjust. You can adjust the distance from here. I don't know if you'll see. There you go. You can adjust it from there as well. Active cruise control on this car. Auto high beam. So actually, like, you don't even have to activate it. It will automatically detect that there's no light, and it will come on. It will detect oncoming cars, so it will go off. So it does all of that for you. Like I said, massage seats, and you know what? I am going to turn them on. Also powered bolsters as well. That's nice, isn't it? Like the Peugeot, it's got this set up here like an aircraft warning lights and stuff like that. Put your seatbelts on. SOS button as well. Climate control, obviously. Heated seats, there you go. I'll turn those on. Two's enough on this car. And actually, I'd say the heated seats are better in this car than they are on the Peugeot. Similar gear stick on there, but also paddle shifts on this car. But also it gets the driving modes. And the driving modes, again, you've got the Sport, Normal, and Eco. To be honest, I've been driving it in Normal. We'll talk about that on the go. And here you have, obviously, the lane keep assist and all of those systems that you can operate. Again, a slightly better arrangement here, because one thing I noticed in the Peugeot is the cup holders are too far forward. Certainly when I drove the 2008 with the manual, they would get in the way, but this one is much further back, so that's more sensible. But you get a little tray here, very small cubby box, I mean barely usable, honestly, and decent size. Well, I mean, to be honest, it's a similar glove box to what was in the Peugeot. Down here you get a little tray, that's where you can keep your phone and stuff like that. There is a USB point there and a power supply, so only one USB charging point in this car. For a top spec car, I guess that's the only real disappointment. Otherwise, you know, it's got everything. I mean, check out the speakers, electric mirrors, the mirrors go in and all the rest of it. So all the seats are warming up nicely and the massage is really, really good. So the thing, and also don't forget that this has got the conventional steering on it, unlike the Peugeot, which has that arrangement where it's got the flat top as well as the flat bottom, and it sits lower, so you look over the top of it to see the instrument panel. For me, in a car of this size with my long legs, this is the more comfortable driving position. This is more suitable for me. I have space around here. I don't feel like I'm hemmed in by the steering wheel, so this actually is a much better arrangement for me. Having said that, the instrument panel and the dashboard on the Peugeot, fantastic. I mean, it's just a notch above, and it's almost like I would forego that level of comfort just for that cool looking dashboard, because hey, you spend a lot of time sitting in the car, don't you, looking at your dashboard, especially when you're in traffic, and also your friends sit in the car and when they see it, it's just another dashboard. Whereas with the Peugeot, it's a talking piece. The whole thing is a talking piece. It's really, really good. So that's the only thing that I would say about that. Let's take it for a drive and see how it compares on the road. So let's go. Wow. So 100 brake horsepower, as you can see, is plenty in a little car like this. I put it straight into sport mode. To be honest, whilst it looked pretty handy right there, it looked pretty sharp there, but I have to say that compared to the Peugeot, there isn't as much discernible difference between the normal mode and the sports mode. You know, like in the Peugeot, it seemed to be energized once you go into the sports mode. And here, it's a little bit sharper, but not really that much. But having said that, the car is designed to be very easy to drive. And, you know, I just feel that this car is set up slightly differently to the Peugeot. And I think, again, it comes to that whole thing where the Peugeot is, you know, perhaps a little bit sportier and perhaps a little bit more engaging to drive. This car, they've gone more for ease of comfort, ease of use with the car, to just make it easy to drive, to cope with, to live with. And it very much is one of those cars where I have actually done a lot of miles in this car. The ride is pretty firm on this car. It's comfortable, does well on the motorway. Around town, you really feel those speed bumps and ruts, but generally okay. But like, you will feel it, and if you go over it a little bit wrong, it will move you around a little bit. But it's more on the firm side, so it's a pretty solid ride. Another telling point is the fuel economy I've been getting in this is so much. In fact, it's now I've got it up to 46 miles per gallon there. I said 45 earlier. I've got it up to, I did do a long motorway run yesterday. I've done 600 miles in this car, so I've done a lot of miles in it. And but with the Peugeot, I was barely getting, I think, 30 or something. It wasn't, I will go back and look at the video, but it wasn't particularly hot in terms of miles per gallon. But I think I was driving it a lot harder, even though same automatic gearbox on that car. But this car is the one that you can, and again, with the cruise control and active cruise and terrible weather conditions we've been having, it's got automatic wipers and stuff like that. Cruised up at night, bad conditions, but the car was handling it very well. No buffeting. For a small car, very stable, very solid, good at speed. Not at high speed, obviously. I wasn't doing high speed, but, you know, motorway speeds. Very stable, solid, not a problem, not getting pushed around or buffed around or anything, buffeted or anything like that. So it's a very good car for those trips. Again, you'd think maybe a bigger car would be more suitable, but this Corsa, you know, and again, like the Peugeot, I have to say, this feels bigger to me than Corsas of old. I've driven Corsas before, and this one feels just a little bit bigger. Having said that, it's no problem. It's perfect for around town. I've been doing it mostly around northwest London, and it feels perfectly sized for urban duties and urban activities. But visually, it feels like it's a slightly bigger car. It's got 360-degree camera, not only a reversing camera, but a 360-degree camera, which is quite extraordinary for a little car. But again, easy to drive, easy to place. One thing I've personally had an issue with is the mirror positioning. I just find it's a little bit too low. It's just come into my line of sight a little bit. So again, if you're tall, then you might want to just take it for a test drive and see how you feel about that. I often have to do that just to look around it. Other than that, I've not had any problem with the car at all. Like I said, I could do with a sharper, meatier steering feel. That would certainly improve things. But having said that, I have chucked it around some corners and stuff like that. It holds on really well, does a pretty good impression of a little hot hatch. Again, remember, it's only got 100 brake horsepower, but the engine sounds eager. It's got that 3-cylinder note that it has, which, again, so the moment, you can hear it and it goes, it's kind of growly and, wants to go, especially like now it's in sports mode. So there it does really well. So overall, I think it's a really, really good car. I'm really impressed with the car. However, I balk at that price. I think that's just way too much for a Corsa. I know it's got all the kit, but it's got all the kit of an upper and medium executive car, but it's a lot of money. And the thing is, like, if you're spending a lot of money and you aren't impressed, this car doesn't have much of a road presence, I gotta confess. And it's not like you get a lot of respect on the road. Massage seats are quite nice for me. I gotta confess, I'm liking the massage seats right now. But it doesn't get like that level of respect. Whereas even the Peugeot kind of stands out, and it has a specialness. It has a bit of theatre and drama about that car when you get in, and if you spend that, and you'll spend about $1,000 or so less on that car, equivalent to this, I think. But when you spend it, then you'll get to show off to your friends, and you see the interior, and they'll be like, whoa. Whereas if you tell your friends you spend 27 grand on a Corsa, they'll be like, are you all right? But unless it's a company car or something, I suppose. So that's where I have an issue with. Definitely a Corsa is a car worth looking at, but at the lower end levels. It'll be interesting to try the electric version. I might do that soon. Stay tuned. Let me know if you want me to try the electric Corsa or the electric Peugeot. But there you go. I think it's a really good car. I think it's really competent at doing what it does. I think it's perfect for what I've been using it as, which as a long distance run car, around town car, runabout car. And I think it does those duties perfectly. I just think it's nice to have all this kit and all this spec, but I just think that it's not necessarily the sort of thing that a Peugeot or a Vauxhall Corsa is best expected to have, and you're not expected to pay this sort of money. So there you go. Other than that, thumbs up. There you go. There's my review on the Corsa. Make sure that you are subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy. Make sure you follow me on all the social medias. It's my hashtag, it's on my hat, hashtag browncarguy. And of course, subscribe to browncarguy.com. If you enjoy my videos and my other content, then perhaps you can sponsor my content, and you can do that on patreon.com/Shazad Sheikh. And you can join such awesome people as Mohamed Ali Humaid in the UAE, Partha over in India, find him on parthans.com, Tom Conway-Gordon here in the UK, and Isaac Beauchard over in America, find him on bespokeautos.com. Those guys are great. You could join that lineup and get a name check at the end of my videos. If not, no worries. Please hit the like button. Please comment, share, subscribe, all the rest of it. All of that is much appreciated. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you very soon again in the next video.